Welcome to InterPartyConflict, the podcast where we answer your questions so you can have the best tabletop gaming experience possible. My name is Jeff.
And my name is... Gabe.
April Fool, because I think when this episode goes out, it'll be just a few days before April Fool's. Gotcha. Good times. All right. So let's record this over.
Okay, fine. All right, go ahead.
So I wasn't actually going to start over. I was joking.
Oh. April Fool.
Oh, no.
All right. Okay. All right.
All right. So how are you doing today, Jeff?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Been pretty busy. I just got when this episode goes out, it will have been out for several days, but I just got out our newest monthly fantasy fiction. I wrote a story about a character created by our patron Jom Gemstone.
Ooh.
And I think it turned out really well.
Cool.
It took me a long time to get started because, like, anytime I'm writing about someone else's character, it's harder to... I mean, it takes me forever to get started writing anything.
Yeah.
But writing about somebody else's character, it takes me a little bit longer to get an idea and then feel confident about what I'm writing about. But I think it turned out really, really good.
Cool.
And I sent it to him and he loved it. So,
nice.
So if anybody wants to read that or any of the other fantasy fictions I have written or will write in the future, you can become a patron. And where would people do that?
We go to patreon.com/InterPartyConflict.
That's correct. Yeah. So our show is we're sponsored by our wonderful patrons. If you'd like to become one, that's where you can go.
Yep. If you want to donate $1, $5, $10.
Yeah. We got a few different tiers. They've got some good stuff on there. You get more, you get more content and it helps us make the show better.
Absolutely.
Cool. So today I grilled some burgers.
Oh yeah. It finally just got warm enough. The sun was out long enough to where it was a warmer day.
Yeah. Yesterday it was actually pretty nice out and we, my wife and I went hiking with our dog.
Nice.
But we didn't have the idea to grill burgers until we got home, and then we didn't want to go back out to the store. So we did it today. It's a little bit colder today, but still,
warm up by the grill.
There you go. Yeah. Warm up with all the smoke blowing in your eyes.
Yeah, that's fun. It's a good time.
Good times. All right, you want to go ahead and get into the episode?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Jeff, I want you to imagine that I want you to remember a time from your childhood.
Yeah.
Because, we didn't know each other when we were kids. We met in high school, but I'm pretty sure I have a firm grasp on what your childhood was like. I want you to remember there was a time when your mother sent you to market with a cow to go and trade the cow for some food or some money or something.
Right,
this cow was like your livelihood, right? Growing up in the out in the wilderness of Michigan.
Yeah, the good old Jezebel.
Yeah,
she was a good cow.
There you go. She was a good cow. And so you took Jezebel to market, and you were like, okay, I'm going to trade this for some good stuff. But then you saw that there was a man there, and he looked dirty. He looked like he hadn't changed his clothes in a long time. His hair was, you couldn't tell what color it was. But he said to you through blackened teeth, he said, I'll trade you these beans for that cow of yours. And the listeners can't see, but I'm making this little hand gesture that is.
It's like a spooky claw.
It's like in Smash Brothers. It's crazy hand.
The crazy hand.
I'm doing the crazy hand thing.
It's like
and so he said he would trade you these beans.
I was like, okay, can I eat those beans or?
Well, yes, and they'll give you superpowers, he says.
These are super beans.
Yes. And so, of course, being the kid that you were, who, of course, you wanted superpowers.
Yeah, obviously.
You made the trade, no question about it.
But see you later, Jezebel. I got magic beans.
The question, though, was whether to tell your mom or not. You were a good kid, so you decided, I probably should tell
Well, there's more than one bean. I could get my mom could get superpowers.
But what if you could get 2 superpowers or however many... I haven't said how many beans there were, but what if you could get multiple superpowers, Jeff?
That'd be cool too.
So you went home, you told your mom about the beans, and you know what? Like a mom would, she got mad at you for it.
Come on.
Jeez, what the heck? Mom. She did not value superpowers. So
she doesn't understand.
Right. So she grounded you, of course. It happened to all of us. All of us made this trade at some point in our life, and we all got grounded for it. But Then she threw the beans out the freaking window.
What? Those were super beans.
Now a rabbit or a squirrel is going to be out there, and they're going to eat the beans, and they're going to get superpowers.
Oh,
so when that rabbit goes flying down the street shooting laser beams everywhere, you're going to say to your mom, "See, Mom, that's why you sent me to the market, to get superpowers." And he threw it anyway. But a rabbit did not eat the beans, at least not most of the beans. Instead, you awoke the next morning and there was a giant beanstalk.
Whoa.
And I mean, you didn't even recognize it because who even knows what a beanstalk? Who grows beans?
Yeah.
Come on.
And who would recognize a giant beanstalk as a beanstalk? It would just be like, what's this tree doing
That's
here?
that's a very good point.
It's like, I was like, oh yeah, I recognize that as a beanstalk. It's just 12 feet in diameter.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm a horticultural specialist.
I guess you are.
I mean, well, I guess I am, but
so you went out there and you're like, man, I don't know what the heck to do with this thing. But you thought, you feel like being rebellious because your mom threw away your superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to climb this thing up to the top and I'm not going to come down when she tells me to come down.
Yeah.
If I fall and break my neck, it's on her.
Oh yeah. That's all her jam. She'll be like, oh no.
Exactly.
I should have let him keep the beans.
But of course, before you went up, you figure you should probably bring a tool of some sort. So you brought a car jack with you. You got to have the jack with the beanstalk.
Car jack.
Jack with the beanstalk. Yeah.
All right.
So you climbed up to the top, and you know what you found at the top of this beanstalk?
What did I find?
This is not going to fit the story at all, but you found the dragon's hoard.
Oh, snap. It's like a cloud dragon.
Yeah. So what if there was a cloud dragon?
Wait, are there... There's got to be a dragon that lives in the clouds or something, that dragon type.
I'll try to find one, put one in the show notes.
Yeah, maybe. All right, it'll be from some obscure edition or something.
Yeah. So our item for today is actually an item that you found, Jeff.
Yeah, actually.
This was actually found in the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yeah.
However, I am going to go on a limb and say I would say everybody listening, you have probably never seen, nor used, nor thought of this item ever.
Yeah, and if you have, please send us stories.
Yes.
this is like go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead.
So this item is the bag of beans.
Bag of beans.
I know, who would have guessed, right? With that story. So inside this heavy cloth bag are 3d4 dry beans. Mm-hmm. The bag weighs half a pound. Plus 1/4 pound for each bean it contains. That's a freaking heavy bean.
That's a big bean. I mean, or maybe they're not big, they're just really heavy.
I guess they're made of lead.
It's just
lead wrapped in gold.
Well, they're just they have so much magic contained within them that they just weigh extra. How much does magic weigh?
Well, the internet apparently weighs as much as a strawberry, if I recall. So I imagine somewhere around that.
It's about as big as a banana.
Sure. Strawberry and banana, internet and magic together. Now I'm hungry for a smoothie.
All right.
If you dump the bag's contents out on the ground. See, this thing just starts right off with the great effects that there's a list of effects. We'll get to the list of effects. But before the list of effects, if you dump the bag's contents out on the ground, they explode in a 10-foot radius extending from the beans. Where else would they extend from? Each creature in the area, including you, must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw, taking 5d4 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. The fire ignites flammable objects in the area that aren't being worn or carried.
Now, I have a question about that. If you dump the bag's contents out on the ground.
Yeah.
It doesn't specifically say, a certain amount of beans.
Okay.
It doesn't specifically say beans. It just says that the bag's contents are spilled on the ground. But then I guess it does specify the explosion extends from the beans. But in any case, could you say say the 3d4 beans are so let's say maximum 12 beans.
Sure.
Can you take 10 of those beans out of the bag, hold them in your hand, but then dump the 2 out and still make that one effect?
Probably. However, I'm gonna toss this little twist out there. You do, but the
ones in your hands,
ones in your hands, the fire still extends from the ones in your hands.
Oh,
I was thinking you could just I don't know, use up all the beans but one.
Yeah,
and then I don't know, like dump a bunch of other beans in there or something. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
Dump other stuff in there and then dump it out of the bag and maybe that stuff would explode. I don't know.
So I mean, I guess that's sort of up to DM's discretion.
I suppose
the exact rules of it.
Right. Now, the main use, aside from just blowing everything up,
Right.
the main use, if you remove a bean from the bag, plant it in dirt or sand, and then water it, the bean produces an effect 1 minute later from the ground where it was planted. The DM can choose an effect from the following table, determine it randomly, or create an effect. So, you want to start us off? You roll a D100 for these, by the way.
Yeah. So if you just roll a 1.
Yeah.
It's going to produce 5d4 toadstools, and they sprout from the ground. If a creature eats a toadstool, they will roll any die, so just any dice on the table.
D4, D6, D10, whatever.
Any of them. It's just even or odds.
Yeah.
It's basically, or I guess
Flip a coin.
really.
You could, yeah.
But on an odd roll, the eater must succeed a DC 15 Constitution save or take 5d6 poison damage and become poisoned for an hour.
Yeah.
On an even roll, you get 5d6 temporary hit points for an hour. So it's you get a bunch of toadstools, little mushrooms that will either poison you or give you temporary hit points. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's kind of intense, actually. That the poison's not fun.
All right. So the second effect, on a 2 to 10 on that D100, a geyser erupts and spouts water, beer, berry juice, tea, vinegar, wine, or oil, DM's choice, 30 feet into the air for 1d12 rounds.
That's ridiculous.
A 30-foot geyser for possibly over a minute.
Right. Of vinegar, berry juice, oil. I would also suggest to the DM possibly even mayonnaise.
Yeah. I would. I would go with that one as well.
If you watered it with the alchemy jug, it would also have a chance to be a mayonnaise geyser.
You got it, Jeff.
So already this item is ridiculous. I don't know why I've never heard of these beans before.
Yeah.
So on an 11 to 20, a treant sprouts. There's a 50% chance that the treant is chaotic evil and attacks.
Yeah. A chaotic evil treant pops up out of the ground and attacks you.
And it's not for a specific amount of time. It's just now a treant exists in the world. So what if this treant, this chaotic evil treant, became a recurring enemy, a villain in the campaign?
That's pretty awesome.
Like you found this really early on, and it was a treant, and which is not something to brush aside. It's a brush aside.
Oh, good one.
So I mean, what if you found a bean early on, planted it, made a chaotic evil treant, and it kind of stalked your party for the rest of the campaign.
Yeah, for the whole campaign, you're running from this.
Your party.
Oh, goodness. Good job, Jeff.
More plant jokes. All right, go on to the next one.
That would be scary.
Yes.
Leave it alone, Jeff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna plant my foot down.
Okay, all right. Let's make a tree and get out of here. Wait.
Horticulture.
Yes.
All right, on a 21 to 30, an animate, immobile stone statue in your likeness arises.
What?
It makes verbal threats against you. If you leave it and others come near, it describes you as the most heinous of villains and directs the newcomers to find and attack you.
Oh my gosh.
If you are on the same plane of existence as the statue, it knows where you are.
Oh my gosh.
But the statue becomes inanimate after 24 hours.
But it's still there.
It's still there.
I love magic items that create things permanent things. I love, oh my god.
Guys, we did not make this up. I promise you it is in your Dungeon Master's Guide. Look it up.
This is ridiculous. It's a statue that if it had a plaque too, and it's just who's this chump? And the statue's I'll tell you about this chump. He's right over there. Go kick his butt. That's ridiculous. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much. On a 31 to 40, a campfire with blue flames springs forth and burns for 24 hours, or until it's extinguished. So, but cool.
Pretty not as crazy as a statue that hates you.
It's not a chaotic evil treant or a statue that is just there to troll you.
Yes,
it's a troll statue. What is a statue of a troll? No.
On a 41 to 50, 1d6 plus 6 shriekers sprout.
Oh.
Shriekers are their type of fungus, I think.
Okay.
That, like, they don't move, but they make a really loud noise that attracts enemies or something.
Wonderful. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so on a 51 to 60, 1d4 plus 8 bright pink toads crawl forth. Whenever toad is touched, it transforms into a large or smaller... Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead and read that one again.
Yeah, it transforms into a large or smaller monster of the DM's choice. The monster remains for 1 minute, then disappears in a puff of bright pink smoke. So it's just a bunch of pink toads that if you touch them, they turn into any monster, large or smaller.
Yeah.
That the DM is like, I want one of those for a minute.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
sure,
we'll
of
take
course.
one.
Why wouldn't that happen when you plant a magic bean? I mean, come on.
That'd be a great encounter.
Yeah.
That'd be a really good encounter, actually. Like you come across just like a toad.
Yeah.
You come across like a few, you're in like a little swamp and you see a couple little bright pink toads. And you're like, oh, look at that. And you touch it and it turns into a freaking monster. And
Yeah.
so like, and then like, it's the DM can basically make it anything he wants and it's for a minute. So you could potentially have it be something more powerful than they can handle. And so they can like run away from it. And after a minute it disappears.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
or heck, even like a big, like a terrible monster comes at them, and it's like, but it's at like the last like 2 rounds of its minute or something like that. And then they later come across more pink toads, and something similar happened. I don't know, that's just really cool.
Yeah. Then on a 61 to 70, a hungry boulette.
Oh my-
Or actually, I think it is supposed to be pronounced boulet.
Boulet.
But a hungry boulet burrows up and attacks.
All right, most of these are pretty terrible, but awesome.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, a hungry boulet.
Boule.
Boulet. On a 71 to 80, a fruit tree grows. It has 1d10 plus 20 fruit, 1d8 of which acts as a randomly determined magic potions, while one acts as an ingested poison of the DM's choice. The tree vanishes after 1 hour. Picked fruit remains, retaining any magic for 30 days.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really neat.
A whole bunch of them are just fruit,
Yeah.
but then 1d8 are magic potions.
Yep.
And one is
a poison. That is really cool.
Yeah. On an 81 to 90, a nest of 1d4 plus 3 eggs springs up. Any creature that eats an egg must make a DC 20 Constitution saving throw. On a successful save, a creature permanently increases its lowest ability score by 1, randomly choosing among equally low scores. On a failed save, the creature takes 10d6 force damage from an internal magical explosion. Yeah.
I love this so much. Why have I not heard of these?
I don't know.
This is amazing. You could permanently increase one of your scores.
Or explode. This next one's pretty good, Jeff.
Oh my god. Okay, all right. Let me. Yeah, so a 91 to 99, a pyramid with a 60-foot square base bursts upwards.
Because why not?
Yeah. Inside is a sarcophagus containing a mummy lord. Wow. The pyramid is treated as the mummy lord's lair, and the sarcophagus contains a treasure of the DM's choice.
Yeah. So sorry, your house is now knocked aside by a pyramid.
Yeah, so here's a random pyramid in your backyard. Oh yeah, here's a mummy lord, a challenge rating 15.
15.
Yeah, that's not something you want to just like sprout out of the ground.
Yeah.
But that is awesome.
And like, just to put this in perspective, a mummy lord is one of the monsters with legendary actions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah.
And lair actions.
Yeah. It's nothing. That's
It's not a random encounter.
yeah, and again, there's no time limit on this. Like this one isn't like it goes away in an hour. They're like
There is a pyramid there now.
There is now a mummy lord that has taken up residence in wherever you decided to plant this bean.
Right.
Like that. Like again, these are all really great like arcs and like little like hooks and stuff, and like you could be going into a town that was once like you're on your way to a town that you've been before recently, and you're going back there for some thing or another, and you show up and oh wait, it's under control of a mummy lord.
Because you tried to plant one of those beans last time you were there.
Right, yeah.
Whoops.
Or it's just sort of like, what the heck? Like, it could, like, these aren't just game changing, these are world changing events.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And then the very last one, which is on 100, so double zeros, or I guess two zeros and a zero on a D100. A giant beanstalk sprouts, growing to a height of the DM's choice. So, pretty, I guess, expected. However, the top leads where the DM chooses, such as to a great view, a cloud giant's castle, or a different plane of existence.
So again, a nice little like hook. So you could just be like, all right, there's this beanstalk. You got to climb it. All right, you end up at the bottom of a dungeon or something. I don't know.
Ooh, yeah.
Like
yeah.
you just climb up through some clouds, and the clouds just keep hitting darker and darker and darker, and suddenly you hit your head on a stone ceiling.
Right.
And there's a metal like hatch that you open up.
Oh yeah.
And you're in the bottom of a dungeon.
You're in like a god's castle or something.
Or you're in like the bottom of a dungeon at the bottom of the Underdark somehow.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
Just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But I love these beans.
Yeah, what the heck is with these beans?
These are some great beans, and like just even going off of this, you can come up with some good effects. So if the DM doesn't necessarily want to use this list, although this list is great, but I mean, like it's like if you don't want to just like a hungry boule to show up,
yeah,
you can pick one of the other ones or pick something of equally like ridiculousness.
Sure.
But yeah, I want these beans in every adventure.
Could you imagine if you were very lucky, or I guess unlucky, and you planted all the beans, and now you had 12 mummy lords, 12 pyramids popped up around you? There you go.
Oh my goodness.
You just created like a supervillain team.
Oh my god. Well, they might not like all like each other.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, you just inadvertently grown the Legion of Doom.
Right.
Doom. Like, or Dune.
Oh, the Legion of Dune.
The
exactly.
Legion of Dune. There we go. I made a pun and I didn't really realize it.
April Fool!
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so that's this item.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, because I was
DM writer or DM's guide writers.
Yeah, because I was looking through and I was looking at all the different magic items because we weren't too sure on an item for today, and like I was actually looking at the very nice illustrations that they have in there of the like there's the bag of holding, the bag of devouring, and that was like, and then right next like in that same little corner of the page is a picture of the bag of beans, and I'm like, bag of beans, I gotta look that up. And then like I read the first two and I was like, why have I not heard of this?
Yeah, we started to go over this before recording, and after the first 2 or 3 entries, I was like, hold on, let's hold off on this. Let's get this on mic.
So yeah, if any of you have used the bag of beans,
we would love to hear about it.
Tell us your story, or if you have any ideas for what a bean could grow.
There you go.
There you go. I would like to know that, or we could throw that up on one of our many.
One of our many outlets.
Yeah,
sure.
But,
what the heck? That's the only thing I can say in response to this magic item.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, so I think that'll do it for the Dragon's Hoard. If somebody wanted to submit magic items for us to discuss, or stories for the funeral pyre, or just questions for our general discussion, how would they get those to us, Jeff?
Well, they can send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com.
Yes. Now, before we go any further, we have a giveaway to give away.
Oh, snap, pew, pew. That was an air horn. Don't know if anybody caught that.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, welcome.
I didn't realize that's what it was. April Fool! I knew that's what it was the whole time. So our winner for this week, this is going to be weird. The email is Avonshill? Avonshill. So Avonshill, congratulations. Whoa, winner. Gobble, gobble. You should be getting an email pretty soon from Benoit from Goblinstone. If you don't, because a lot of people haven't been, if you don't, make sure to check your spam folder. But if it's not in your spam folder, send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com. And I usually get a copy of it as well. Like it automatically comes to me too. So that if they don't get it, I can pass it on.
Sure.
So if you don't get the email soon, email me and I'll make sure that gets out to you. So congratulations, Avonshill. And if anybody else wants to enter this drawing, it's very easy, very simple. All you got to do is send us an email at the email address we've already mentioned, but I'll say it again, interpartyconflict@gmail.com with
Chapel on the Cliffs as the subject line.
Yes.
That's all you got to do. You don't have to put anything in particular in the email. You could put just a friendly comment or
a funny GIF.
a funny GIF. Yeah, sure. Or GIF.
Now, tangent. I know. I will address the GIF controversy. I will say, I personally say GIF because I think it sounds funnier.
Yeah.
Pronounce it however you want.
Sure.
But if you're going to pronounce it GIF, don't say that you're pronouncing it GIF because the word is graphics. That's not how acronyms work, people. You don't use the base word in order to determine how the acronym is pronounced.
Okay.
Like name another acronym that follows that rule. You can call it GIF, you can call it GIF, whatever you want. But don't use that as your reason because that's some bad reasoning right there. You know.
I call it GIF because it's the word gift minus the T.
There you go. That's a way to do it.
And then that's just kind of how I've learned to pronounce those letters in that order.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. There's a whole thing where
you Jess? I just think GIF sounds funnier. So that's what I do.
GIF, I think GIF just sounds right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But hey, if you pronounce it differently, no problem with me.
We hate you.
I don't care how. I don't care what you do as long as you do it for a good reason.
Sure.
All right. So let's go on with the episode. But before we get to questions, I just want to say go and check out Crit Academy at critacademy.com. Great podcast. The episode that I guested on should be coming out pretty soon.
Cool.
When I mentioned them last episode, I mentioned the topic for that episode. And when I was editing it, I was like, maybe I should check with Justin before mentioning the topic of their episode.
Right,
before it goes out. He didn't care. I didn't think he would, but just to be safe.
Just in case, there was some sort of secrecy to it or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. Really, people like surprises. Who knows?
Sure. So yeah, check out Crit Academy. Episode 70 should be coming out in the next week or two, and that's the one I'm on. But check them all out. They're all good.
Of course.
Also, D&D Character Lab is another great podcast. Garen and Dan, they make characters and then pit them against each other. It's a lot of fun. Like who wouldn't love to do something like that?
Right, exactly. I mean, I love making characters, or at least just coming up with character ideas.
They just did an episode where I guess a book just came out where someone took all of the monsters from the monster manual and made them into a playable character race.
Oh my goodness.
And so they made monster characters.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you, actually just recently put this as our question on like Facebook and stuff. What monster would you choose if you were going to make a monster character?
Well, I saw this post on Facebook, and I already had my answer in my
head. Zaratan?
What's that?
I said, is it Zaratan, the giant turtle?
The giant turtle? That would be amazing. No, the answer I already had, but like it was very specific, but like I'd seen two people ahead of me had already made a very similar selection.
Okay.
It was like an elithid, and it's like it'd be great to be able to like eat people's brains or whatever.
Sure.
And I'm like,
I mean, Jeff, you can do that now.
Technically, yes, I could, but no, but I'm like, just an elithid? Come on, guys. You want an illithard. Or no, I'm sorry, an ulithard.
Ulithard, yeah.
Ulitharid.
Ulitharid, yes.
I always pronounce it wrong. Ulitharid lich.
Well, in the episode, I don't think it's a spoiler because I'm pretty sure the episode by the time this goes out, that episode is already long been out. But one of them does make an illithid character. The other one, see, because my first thought was Beholder. Why wouldn't you make a Beholder PC?
Sure,
I mean, come on. But so one of them did an illithid. The other one, a shambling mound.
Oh my. What?
I would love to play a shambling mound character. It's a giant walking pile of plant matter.
That's amazing.
I mean, come on, that's great. I want to say it was a paladin. It was either a paladin or a monk.
A shambling mound paladin.
I think it was a paladin. I'm
it'd be like a drunken master shambling mound.
Yeah.
Drunken shambling mound.
There you go. The shambling master. But yeah, so D&D Character Lab, I believe their website is dndcharacterlab.blogspot.com, I think. So check them out. Check Crit Academy. Check out InterPartyConflict. I don't know. Yeah, so check them out. Great podcasts, great time. Let's get to some questions.
Okay, let's do it. All right, our first question comes from Imaru12. This was on Reddit. How can I convince players to go where I need them to?
Yeah, and I think in this, they gave an example. In their example, they were saying that, like, the players are going to start out in this tavern, and I think the tavern like travels between planes or something like that, which is kind of a neat concept. I've toyed with a similar thing.
It sounds familiar. Actually,
there was, I don't know if this is what he's using, but in the 3rd edition manual, the planes there was an online supplement for that book that was a plane called the World Serpent Inn.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
And then it is an inn that is constantly traveling between dimensions, and you can have adventures in the inn. I would have loved to have run a campaign primarily inside this inn. It was really cool. But he wanted there to be a door that the players go through, and going through that door teleported them to the place where he wanted the adventure to take place or something. And it was unclear to me whether he had started the campaign yet and the players just didn't go through it, or if he was just trying to get all this figured out before starting. But he was worried that, like, what do I do if the players won't go through this door?
Yeah.
And I would say, you're assuming you haven't already started the campaign, you've probably overthought it.
Sure.
It will probably, I mean, players are always going to surprise you with what they're going to do. But in most cases, when you start out the campaign, you could very easily just be like, okay, so you guys go through this door and then go on from there.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone would really bat an eye. I really doubt there's going to be the one player that's like, hold on, DM, I don't go through that door.
I don't know, Gabe. That the scenario was playing in my head, and I was like, okay, how can this work? And I was like, oh, you could do this. But then, yeah, there's always that one player who's just like, nah, I'm gonna go outside and go for a walk. What? What?
I mean, I guess.
It's just like, no, that's what my character does. He's going to go and roam the streets and pickpocket people because that's...
At that point, you say, okay, well,
that's my
you're going to go do that thing. All the other characters are going to be adventurers, and they're going to go on an adventure.
Okay.
Why don't you make a new character who will also go on an adventure?
Guilt trip your players. Just be like, you know what? Like, just do the reverse psychology thing and just be like, you know what? Don't go through that door. Put as many signs on that door that says "Do not enter."
Well, see, here's the thing. I feel like, in all seriousness, I feel like if you are at the point where you have to force the players to go somewhere, you've already lost.
Sure.
There is, at that point, there will be the player that is like, no, I'm not going to go through that door.
Yeah.
I can tell you want me to go through that door, and it's not happening.
Yeah, there are people who are like, they have like a +5 sword of railroading Bane. They will do anything in their power. Like if they sense any railroading whatsoever, they will go the exact opposite direction.
Sure.
And it's like, you came here to play a game and you're doing all of the things to make the game not happen. Why?
Yeah.
But it's it's a thing that you have to deal with as a DM. So I one way is also it's like, don't try to trick your player, trick the character.
Sure.
Because it's the player's going to be like, my character wouldn't do that. Then trick the character. So, and just sort of like force your hand on it where it's like, okay, and they're gonna be like, you know what? No, I'm gonna go the other direction. It'd be like, all right, make an intelligence check. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, so like you've been at the bar or something like that. Maybe you've been drinking or whatever. Make an intelligence check. Oh, you didn't make the intelligence check. You stumbled through the wrong door. It's the door I wanted you to go in. Ta-da,
Sure.
Or if it is I don't know, if it's a like if it's a person who like, if it's a character who is very like likes to play the hero, have somebody's purse get stolen and they run through that door.
Sure.
Have something that like you give chase to them in there, or make it, but like try to make the characters want to go in there. Like try to like find a way to fool the character into it. Like use the character, like their stats and stuff against them.
Sure.
To try and like trick them to go in there. It's it'll be hard to do to get everybody in there, but if at the very least if there's like one straggler, you might be able to find a way to kind of like fool them into going in there or something like that. And they might resent you a little bit for it, but it gets the game moving.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the important thing.
Right.
And like really, I would say in most cases, if one player goes, the rest of the players are going to go too, because either you have players that are not very strong role players and they're just kind of sitting around twiddling their thumbs, in which case they'll go with whatever. That's the situation where you can just say, you guys go through this door and nobody's going to object. Or you have very strong role players and they will probably try to come up with a reason why their characters would go along with the rest of the group, because otherwise why are they playing?
Right.
So I would say, I just feel like this particular situation probably won't be an issue for most people in most situations, unless your players are just that contrarian and they're just like, no, I'm not going through that door, DM.
Yeah. I can definitely see it happening, and that might just be the pessimist in me.
Sure.
And
I mean, that's not a terrible attitude to have when you're DMing. It does help you be better prepared for problems that may arise. So I would say if you do have to railroad them, do it in the most outlandish way possible.
Sure, yeah.
And then find a way to fit that into the narrative. Let's say they're in this tavern and 3 of the players go through this door, and then, or let's say none of them will go through the door. Have some like giant bright red furry dude walk in, grab them all in one arm and toss them through the door. And then when they're like, what the crap was that? Then you as the DM, even if that's something you just came up with off the top of your head, you are in the perfect position to come up with why that happened, who that giant red furry guy is, and why he wants the players to go through that door.
Gabe. No, I make a strength check.
Okay.
I made a strength check to get out of there.
Okay. Did you beat a 50?
You rolled a D8.
Yeah? What's your point?
Let me see your dice.
I don't have a D20.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, he's got a plus 55.
Oh, okay. Is it the red monster from the Bugs Bunny
That's
cartoons?
exactly what I was thinking of. Yes, it is. I needed something weird looking.
Did he have a voice? No, I'm thinking of the
the Yeti guy that would like pat him on the head and call him George. Exactly.
Yeah. I was thinking of the Abominable Snowman guy.
I do want to say the big red thing did have a name, but I don't think it had a voice. I don't think it ever talked.
I just remember like Bugs Bunny giving him like a haircut or something.
Yes.
It's like giving him like curls on the end.
Yeah. So like seriously, do whatever it takes if you have to. This is if you have to. Most of the time you won't have to, but if there is the player that is like, no, I'm not going to do it, then fine. You've forced my hand.
Yeah.
A giant red monster is going to walk in, grab you, and throw you through that door, and then it's probably going to show up again. Who knows where? Ooh, I don't know where.
Here's a neat idea. If it's like a magical inn and this sort of crazy stuff is happening, have it like each character is in their own like instance of the inn.
Ooh, okay.
So like they're all going to be going through a door that they want to go to for whatever reason. Like each character is going to have their own reasons for wanting to go in there. You're gonna find what it is and exploit it. And then when they enter through, they realize they've all entered through the same door at the same time, or something. Yeah, like that. I don't know. This is going crazy. Like this isn't going to work for every situation. Sure. But I just like if it's a magical inn that has teleportation doors or something like that. Like it'd be like you walk into an inn. And it's like it has your favorite beer, and it's got like it's the minstrels are playing your favorite music, and it's like if you're like the rogue type who likes to pickpocket, there's like a very well-to-do man with a coin purse just bursting at the seams at the very end of his belt, and he just walked through that door, and you're like, I think I can get that. I think I can get that off of him pretty easily. You know what? I got a good sleight of hand check, or it's the paladin. They hear somebody scream help, on the other side of the door. I don't know. I was thinking if they're in their own instance and there's all the people and whatever, and let's say the bartender's like, oh, I hear that here there's somebody giving a quest over in that room over there, and the player, the player has their character get kind of obstinate and be like, no, I'm not going to go through that door. Then every single person in the tavern stops what they're doing and stares at them. And then maybe they all get up and form a wall around the player, sort of like buffeting them, just like bumping into them. They become like a phalanx of commoners. Exactly, until they go through that door, and then they all go back to what they were doing. Like, if you are ever forced to railroad the players, break the fourth wall. Own it as much as possible, and then come up with a reason why later. It's like the Matrix or something. Because like weird stuff happening in the world that's like the stuff I love in games. So if the DM is ever forced to do something weird in order to get the game going, I would love for that to be canon and to be part of the campaign and turn into something bigger later on. Now we're definitely on the complex side. I'd say even it could be as simple as, especially if you're like a new DM or something. Just be like, hey guys, we need to go into this room. Like,
that is probably the simplest answer.
yeah,
yes.
yeah. It's just to ask it, and like to ask, like it's like I was like, okay, the beginning of the adventure is in this room. Like, do what you guys want to do, but like you've been given a quest by a quest giver NPC to go through this door. Please do that as soon as you guys are ready to do so.
Yeah.
But that is where we need to go next. Like, you could just come out and say that. That's a possibility. And I mean, putting that out there, especially like in the first adventure or something like that, you might not have to do that again. You might like the players will then be like, oh, okay, like we should try to play along.
Yeah.
We'll like if we play along, we get to the next part, more fun stuff happens. Like there'll always be times for like little like for filler adventures and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it could just be as easy to be like, yeah, we need to go in this door, guys. Come on.
Yeah. And so that's probably like the simplest DM tip. Mm-hmm. I would say more complex DM tip: don't force the players to go there.
Yeah.
If they're not going to go through there, if there's some reason why they are just not going to take the bait, something else happens.
Yeah, if you're an off the cuff kind of DM, that's fine.
And heck, in most DMs, so a long time ago, we had an episode where I said something along the lines of all DMs railroad. It's just that like the better ones, you don't notice it.
Sure.
And I think I even said I don't think that it's possible to run a game where you don't railroad at least somewhat. My brother Tim, who I don't know if he still listens to the podcast, but he listened to the podcast back then.
He stopped after that one. He's like, no, that's wrong.
I hope not. He had an issue with me saying that. Sure. He thinks that there is a way to run a pure sandbox campaign that, nothing is railroad. Okay, sure. Yeah. There's probably a way you can do it.
Yeah, it has to at least be possible.
Sure. But going with the other thing that I said, which is that like all DMs railroad is just a matter of how much you notice it. I would say if they just are not going to go through that door, fine. What door do you want to go through? They go through this other door. Okay. They go through that other door. Bam. It teleports them to where you were going to have them go in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go out the exit. Well, the properties of this inn is crazy. Like,
sure.
Or again, going back to like, it's like you make an intelligence check out, like you stumble and get turned around and you went out the wrong door. Oh, it's the door you were supposed to go through. Like, there's a lot of ways to get it to happen. Yeah. Or if it just doesn't happen, you can find ways to progress the story anyway.
Sure. And like, here's another example. If it's something like the players are trying to choose either to go to the fire dungeon or the ice dungeon, and you want them to go to the fire dungeon, but instead they go to the ice dungeon. Okay, well, just run the same dungeon, but have everything be ice themed instead of fire themed.
Sure.
That's something you can do.
It's a cool flame. It's blue.
I guess. So if you are determined to use what you wanted to use, you can still do that even if the players don't take the bait initially. Yeah. You can just tie it into whatever they do end up doing.
Yeah, they just keep ending up back at that one haunted house with the skeletal mages.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it was your worst DM.
Oh, right. Okay.
You kept railroading even though it was people who
weren't even there
the first time. Anyway,
right. Maybe I should take back that advice then, because I don't want to associate myself with him. Right. So simplest answer is to just tell them, hey guys, this is where the adventure is.
Yeah. Just explain to the players, this is where we need to go next. Yeah. Do what you got to do beforehand, but we're to continue on, we have to go through here. Yeah.
But I say, you probably won't even get to that point. Mm-hmm. You'll probably just say, okay, yeah, there's this door, and someone's already gonna be like, yeah, sure, we go through the door, whatever. What happens next?
Yeah.
In my experience, at least, that's what most players do. They just go along with whatever.
Yeah.
And if they are refusing to go, either just reroute the adventure to be at that exit instead of this exit. And then if you have to have a big, weird, random monster show up and grab them and throw them through the door, do it. Or do it and then come up with an interesting reason why that happened.
Or giant blue mouse, terrifying monster. Jeez. Thinking of King's Quest V. You're
okay.
You're in like the evil guy's castle, and then like just out of nowhere, this big, like 4-legged, buff-looking blue mouse monster.
Okay.
Just comes and picks you up and like opens like a magical door in the wall and throws you into a dungeon. And it's
Yeah,
just, it's
I'm
just
definitely gonna have to look up a picture of that.
I don't know how to describe it. It was just like this. It's terrifying. And then you throw a bag of peas at it and it trips and falls and knocks unconscious.
Maybe that wasn't a bag of peas, Jeff.
It was a bag of cheese.
It was a bag of beans.
Oh gosh, a bag of beans.
They were about to explode.
Okay, so our next question is from Paradoxopus.
Of course.
That was on Reddit. How do I know if my D&D group is worth sticking with? Are you having fun?
That's the answer.
Yeah, that's the question.
That's the question, rather. That is the follow-up question.
Yes. It's like, are you having fun? If no, then probably then maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's not as obvious as that. Because sometimes you might be like, well, I mean, yeah, I guess I have fun. Here's a different question to ask. Are you constantly looking for excuses not to go?
Right. Yeah.
At that point, maybe it's not worth sticking with.
Right. But as somebody who has social anxiety, that might not be the group either. It might be something
true.
that you did look within.
That's true.
But that's a different podcast.
Yeah. But in keeping with that question, though, it's not necessarily are you constantly looking for reasons not to go. It's do you constantly feel like you would rather be doing something else? If you are at the game and you're like, I really wish I was at home getting my homework done, or there was that movie I really wanted to see, and I would much rather be doing that instead of being here.
I could be playing Baldur's Gate right now.
I mean, I guess there are times where you feel like you do need to interact with people socially, and you should be doing that instead of being at home. But it's still worthwhile to know if you're enjoying it. If you are enjoying this more than you would be enjoying doing something else. If the answer is no, that doesn't mean you should necessarily leave.
Right, yeah.
But it means that you're not enjoying the game, and maybe you should try to switch things up.
Yeah. Or switch something up, or or one of the many problems that we've tried to answer questions for in the past of just like problem players, people taking too much of the spotlight, or it's like the DM is picking favorites and things like that. Like these are all things that you can be talking to the group and or the DM about.
Yeah.
And so if you're not having fun, and then you do what you can to try and change that up by either talking to your group or whatever, and that still isn't like, and they just won't cooperate with that, or they still won't do anything for it. Like if you have raised your concern to the group or the DM, I'm not having fun, or I would like this to change, or this is bothering me, or so on. Like if you've brought that to their attention and they won't do anything about it, then it's probably time to leave. Like if they won't work with you to make it so that you're also having fun, because the idea is for everyone to have fun. Right. Like
I've said before, like if anybody at the table is not having fun, then everyone has failed.
Right. Yeah. And like and I mean, like, nobody's perfect, and no group is perfect, and there will be adventures, there will be days where, like, one person's not having a good time.
Well, yeah.
Their character rolled really bad on a hold person spell or something.
Right.
It's just like, they're just having really bad luck, and then it just puts you in a bad mood and whatever. But the next adventure might be better. Yeah. One bad adventure isn't necessarily a good reason to stop playing altogether.
Sure.
It's more just like a persistence of unfun.
Yeah, like if the idea of like, well, would you rather be doing something else, or would you whatever? Like if that just happens once, don't jump up and be like, everybody, I'm out.
Right. Yeah.
But if you notice a trend, if you notice that every week you're having the same thought, like I'd really rather be writing my novel or playing that game that I bought or something like that. And even if you do think to yourself, like, I'm not really enjoying this, if you also have the thought of if you think to yourself, well, should I say something and should I try to make this better? If you then have the thought of it's not worth it, like, oh, it's not worth bringing up to anybody, chances are you're just not enjoying it.
Yeah.
If you don't even have the motivation to make it better for yourself,
right, then
you should probably just cut ties. Now, of course, don't just stand up and be like, guys, you all suck. Peace out.
Right.
I'm out of here.
Because it could very well, in a situation like that, it could very well just be, that's just your own choice. That's just like, it's like, you're just not getting what you want out of the game and out of the group, and it's just not working out. And it's not necessarily anyone in particular's fault. It's just, it's like, okay, like it's no longer worth it. It's no longer worth sticking around. You're not doing what you came to do.
Yeah. Like in keeping with, you mentioned the bad DM that I talked about so many episodes ago. In that case, when I was getting ready to leave the group, it wasn't because I felt the group was, it wasn't because I bore anybody ill will at the time. I did later, but at the time, I just realized like this, I'm not really having a lot of fun with this. I would rather be playing a different game.
Yeah.
So I was planning on leaving so that I could start my own game to have more of what I wanted. Again, it wasn't until the DM became just a total jerk after that that I very much cut ties with everybody.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was just, this isn't really what I want. Hope you guys have a good time. I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, because because you could have a problem with a particular person. You could have a problem with all the people, really.
Yeah.
I mean, or any of them. But even without that, even if like you get along with the people just fine,
sure.
It could be that each, like, because D&D is it's a very cooperative game. It's like there's a lot of input from the players as well as the DM.
Yeah.
Like between like, the different characters people have made and like the house rules and stuff like that, it could just become a different game that you don't want to play.
That's true.
So like it's just like at a certain point you might be like, no, this isn't how I want to play D&D or whatever. Like I like, you might be like not necessarily a rules lawyer, but you want to, stick to like, it's like if you want to play a game without mods, like especially if it's like your first time playing D&D or something like that. It's like, no, I don't want to play all this weird house rulesy stuff. I want to play the core game, and if that's just not what the group is doing, then that's a time to leave. That's a time when you're like, okay, like unless it's at least fun. Like if you're having fun, and it's your friends, you might as well stick around.
Sure.
But yeah, if it's not what you want to be doing, then don't do it.
Yeah. I would say try not to feel like you are obligated to continue playing.
Right. Yeah.
You may think that, because like I felt like this sometimes where I feel like, well, if I leave, then that means the rest of the group is going to have a harder time or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
That can be a thought that pops up, but don't think of it that way. This is a hobby. Yeah. Everyone is electing to be there.
Right. And it's a game where you're playing make believe, so the DM can come up with a way to fill in that gap.
Definitely.
This isn't like you this isn't you moving out of a house, leaving 3 people to pay like more rent,
Right.
It's like you're splitting up the rent 4 ways, and now you're leaving, so now it's split up 3 ways, and they can't afford it. That's not what's happening.
Yeah.
Unless you get some weird
weird living situation going on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even if the game becomes less fun for the other players after you leave, it's not your responsibility to make sure someone else has a good time. I mean, like, you should be, like I did say earlier, that if one person is having a bad time, everyone has failed.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it is your job to sacrifice your fun for someone else's fun.
Right.
So if someone else has less fun because you're not there, then that's something that they should consider when they're trying to think of whether they should stick with the group.
Yeah.
It's not your responsibility to make sure everyone else has fun at your expense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for questions for today. Mm-hmm. Now, before we close out, I think we should let's take a moment. Let's relax. Let's think about what our favorite magic bean effect was, or something.
What if you eat the beans?
Ooh, why didn't it say what happens when you eat a bean?
Maybe
it had freaking rules for a geyser of berry juice.
And it
doesn't say what happens if you eat a bean.
Yeah, even if it was as simple as you gain 1d3 hit points or something.
Sure.
Like it could be very,
or even just nothing happens,
or just nothing. Yeah, I guess in that case nothing happens.
Well, it does happen when you eat beans, Jeff.
What's that?
You toot. Because they're the musical.
The musical
anyway,
fruit.
Speaking of tooting, let's take a deep breath.
Oh.
And let's toss another log onto the funeral pyre. All right, our funeral pyre story today was submitted by Gabriel on Facebook. That's a good name.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Good
one.
name, Gabriel.
Not bad.
And Gabriel's story goes, little Theo was strapped to a weapon of mass destruction he had to take down to save the town. Well, he saved half of it.
Well, good on you, Theo.
Yeah, good on you, little Theo. That I'll go on a very small tangent here. Have you ever read the DC graphic novel Kingdom Come? Mm-mm. It was, I don't remember when it was written, but it was this comic book series a while back, or this graphic novel or whatever, where it was the DC heroes, but like 30 years down the line. Mm-hmm. So like Superman had been retired for a while. He like went and he started a farm on his, like basically the holodeck of his ship. He was just like tending to a farm for years and years. Batman, I don't think had retired, but I know he like had like an army of robots that like did his Batman thing for him.
He became Iron Man.
I guess the story involved there's this like prison that has all of the supervillains in it. Mm-hmm. And somehow it like breaks open and all the supervillains escape. And I think some politician guy or somebody had a plan to basically just drop like the world's biggest nuke onto the prison to just wipe out all of the supervillains. And there's a very awesome moment near the end. I will sort of be spoiling this, so I apologize. There's a moment where, so part of the story involves Shazam, Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
This is many years down the line, and as part of the story, you find out that Captain Marvel, at least for all appearances, Captain Marvel is working for Lex Luthor. Okay. He's like his butler. And then it turns out it's not actually that Captain Marvel is working for his butler. It's that the little kid that said Shazam and became Captain Marvel
has grown up,
and he looks just like Captain Marvel. And Lex Luthor has basically brainwashed him to be he doesn't have any powers. He's just a normal dude.
Right, yeah.
He has brainwashed him, and there's a point where Superman comes out of retirement to try and stop all these supervillains that have escaped. And the bomb has been launched. It's on its way to go nuke all the supervillains and probably destroy the world or something. Superman goes to stop it. Shazam shows up and stops him. Like, he activates his powers, but he's a bad guy. And so Superman and Shazam are fighting for a little while.
Right, yeah.
And then there's a moment where, like, he has, like, a moment of lucidity. His brainwashing, like, wears off for a moment. And then Shazam flies up, grabs the nuke, and then uses his Shazam power, because whenever he says Shazam, he gets hit by a bolt of magic lightning, which is what gives him his power.
Yeah.
So he basically flies up, grabs the nuke, and then says the words so that the nuke gets struck by lightning instead of him.
Yeah.
It blows up, kills him, but it stops the nuke from destroying the world.
Right.
Where did I get to because the funeral pyre story.
Right.
So I'm going to picture little Theo as the little kid that becomes Shazam.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Nice.
Yes. Anyway, so I think that'll do it for the funeral pyre. So let's raise a glass in memory of little Theo, the kid who gained superpowers when a magic bolt of lightning hit him and he saved half the town. Clink. Sure. All right. Well, that'll do it for today. To submit questions for us to discuss, items for the Dragon's Hoard, or stories for the funeral pyre, please email us at interpartyconflict@gmail.com. For show notes, a running list of questions asked, and important links, go to interpartyconflict.com. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/interpartyconflict, or our subreddit at reddit.com/r/interpartyconflict, where I post weekly discussion questions for you. We're also on Twitter at InPartyConflict. Find us on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, and YouTube, anywhere you download podcasts. Please rate, review, subscribe, or just tell a friend. We recently started a Patreon, so check out the rewards at patreon.com/interpartyconflict. There's a few different tiers, so anything you can spare, even $1 a month, will make the show better, and you'll get bonus content for it. Jeff, you want to tell us about FriendQuest?
FriendQuest is our YouTube channel where we play video games.
Yes. And if you'd like to submit some of your childhood memories of going to the arcade, I mentioned this last episode, you can either write them to us in an email or record it yourself and send it to me that way. If you send a recording of yourself, it'll be just a little bit more magical, I would say.
Yeah.
And head over to bit.ly/interpartyconflict to take a short survey about our show, what you like, what you don't like, etc. And just for taking it, you'll get 2 free printable board games courtesy of Mary and Tom at hollandspiel.com. And our music is made by Boxcat Games from Nameless the Hacker's RPG. So, Jeff, until next time.
Shazam!
Or explode.